This video is going to explore how we can visually represent the phonemes, so how we can create our 2D phoneme image map, and think about how we link sounds and images. This is crucial to creating a personalised soundscape for somebody. If we can use the images that they already have associated with a sound, then that will reduce the learning load and the memory load for when they come to use it. If we start by thinking of the sound oo, what image do you think of for this sound? It might be one of the images that I've selected there. So it might be the double O for oo if you're literate. It might be the peekaboo sign there, the person covering their hands, if that's a game that you play regularly and you regularly say you'll hear the sound boo. It might be the moo for cow or the oo for the monkey if you've been exploring phonics in school and you've been doing gesture for the monkey. Or it might be that you have a completely different representation for the sound oo. So if you've got a dog called Lou, then maybe you would want a photo of your dog. We understand that for a lot of people might not be able to express what they think of when they hear a sound, or they may not actually have an image. So it may be that we can give them a colour, or it may be that we can present lots of different images and they can just choose the one that's sort of their preferred one, even if they can't tell us what it conjures up in their mind. This slide asks the question the other way around. So what sound do you think of for this image? We don't need this information for the soundscape, but this slide is just to show that there are lots of different image and sound links that we could have. So if you know that this car is called Rory, then that might be the sound that you link with that image. But if not, you might link the sound, the crash or the beep or the screech, or you might have the k sound. The idea from those past slides is really to show us that we all have unique links. So for example, the A sound there, I had that as a picture of an angel on my soundscape that I'd made for myself. And when I was using it with a young girl, she was struggling every time she wanted to find the A sound. So I said to her, do you want to choose a different picture? And she was a speaking child, so she was able to tell me that she wanted the picture day. So whereas I had presumed that I was going for words with the onset of A for angel, she wanted a word that had the coda of A. And I imagine she was at the stage where she was doing lots of rhyme. And so she'd probably been thinking about day, pay, say, and the rhyming words. Some other examples there. So this little boy that I showed this to, he said he wanted a picture of the pearl of power for per. I think that was from a computer game, I'm not entirely sure, but it was something that he knew of, pearl of power, and that's what he thought of when he played the sound per. So the top right there was a little girl called Florence who I tried it with, and she wanted a picture of herself for the fur. So b might make you think of ball. That's quite a societal sort of imposed one that obviously lots of the phonics schemes that we use at school will use the ball for b, so lots of children might know that. The schwa was interesting because I gave that to as an adult that I tried it with. He'd not come across that as a sound before, so he needed to go away and think about it. He originally couldn't conceive the sound, but when I gave him lots of examples and he went away and thought about it, and then he came back to me and said, is it the sound that's at the end of Emma? And when we discussed it, he said, yes, it is. So then he had a photo of Emma. So, and then down in the bottom right there, so personally, I know the IPA, and I have had one client who wanted to learn, said she was happy to learn the IPA, and she could have those symbols on there. So this is a soundscape that I've made for myself. I'm sure a psychologist would probably have a field day in trying to work out why I have those sound links, why I like black and white, nice, neat, square photos. I don't know, but they worked for me really nicely. So I've got lots of different things there. So some of them are quite generic ones, like the birth for ball. Like I say, lots of people would probably have that. The surfer snake, lots of people would probably choose that. But then there might be some quite personalised ones. So for me, offer octopus. I'm very interested in octopuses, so that just works for me. And even if I could probably have a different word there, the octopus would make me smile and would make me think, I know this is my soundscape because I've chosen that picture there. Like I say, in the bottom middle there, I'd put the A for angel, but the little girl that I was working with, she just kept hesitating and was really struggling every time she needed the A, whereas other vowels she was finding quite quickly. So when I asked her, she chose to change that for the day, put a sunshine there. This is a really interesting one that was made for somebody with partial literacy. It wasn't really emerging literacy. He's very static in his literacy, so it's an adult. But he's got a real mix of some literacy skills that he'd learned very early on, and then some sort of sound skills that he's learned later. So what was interesting here was that actually for the letter R, rather than using it for the phonic sound R, the letter R is the R sound, so the end of car. So he's using the letter R to mean the sound R, rather than the phoneme R. And there was just lots of interesting things in here. So he struggled a lot with the vowels. And again, the vowels are the ones that have more of the phoneme grapheme matches, so are more difficult. So he's got a few there. So he's got the air, for the air sound, the ear, the I for the I sound. So he chose all those pictures. This was interesting that he chose I think it's widget or PCS symbol of OR that he has on his current symbol system. So for the sound OR, which could be OR, but it could also be AW, as in poor, he chose that symbol. So it's really interesting once you start exploring. And then there was a few down the side here where he didn't have anything for. He couldn't come up with an image and wasn't sure. So we just said we'd come back to those, and he's thinking about those. It could just be that somebody wants colours. So if you think about how we play a piano or a keyboard, we do it by position. When you're teaching children a keyboard, you might do a colour keyboard to help them tune into where those positions are for the sounds. So it might be that if somebody's very tuned into colours and matching colours to sounds, they could work it that way. That wouldn't work for me, like I say, it would for someone else. This is one that I made that was thinking about somebody who's maybe got a ruling passion, very, very strong interest about the seaside or animals that might live under the sea. And so they might want to put those words there. Again, it's just really showing how you can make it fit to something that the person is interested in, but also something that might just make the person smile as they're using it when they see some of their favourite things on there. This was somebody who is very interested in Marvel and wanted a Marvel themed one. Again, they haven't completed all the sounds yet. They were going to go away and think about some of their sounds. What was really interesting on this one, so some of them are quite, we could work them out. So like after Avengers, you might be able to work that one out. But what was interesting was the je sound over here. So I don't know if anybody knows Marvel very well, but apparently when that person does that and the tool, whatever it is that happens, it makes a je sound. So that's why they wanted the je there. This system wouldn't work for me at all. I have no idea what any of these mean, but for the person who designed it, and I've just asked lots of different people of different ages to design different ones. So this person came up with this, and again, was very, very pleased with themselves when they made it. This is one that I'd made for a young girl who's going to be in a video later, one of the videos on the website, and she had emerging literacy. So she was very good at her single phoneme grapheme matches for her consonants. So b, d, g, p, t, k, she could do those, but she struggled with some of the vowels. So she was just starting to get some of the idea that an A could be made in a couple of different ways, or that the E sound could be made in all of those different ways. So her teacher was very keen to have this and to help her understand that she could make that phoneme in different ways. Okay, so why is self-design important? So we are taught the universal phoneme grapheme matches when we learn literacy, but I think I've said in one of my other talks about how we have over 250 phoneme grapheme links. So pre-literacy, we're thinking about whether we can tap into the person's unique phoneme image match. So pre-literacy, we could do that, but also, yeah, it just to personalize it to make it more appealing to them as well, and so that it gives them more ownership or authorship of their own system. So hopefully it would reduce their memory load because they're not accessing a learnt memory from somebody else, they're accessing their own links, could reduce their learning, and you should use skills and knowledge that they already have. We also like to think that it would engage the user and their support team from their start, in that you've got that self-creation, and it can increase ownership and encourages them to think about the sounds that are on there. And also it is just fun choosing your own pictures and designing your own. Thank you for listening. If you have any queries or ideas, or want to have a go at creating your own, or give me more ideas about how you would create one, then please let us know. Thank you.